Welcome to Truth Report. I'm Alex Truth.
And I'm Maya Clarity. Tonight, we pull back the curtain on stories that, at first glance, might seem disconnected. From the luxury goods market to geopolitical chess games, from the promise of green technology to the very fabric of our biological existence, we're tracing the invisible threads that bind our world.
Because beneath the surface of every headline, there are power structures at play, economic forces shaping our lives, and the often unseen human cost. Tonight, we expose how these seemingly disparate narratives converge, revealing their profound impact on one of the most fundamental aspects of our global society, the movement, integration, and often, the exploitation of immigrant populations.
We'll challenge the official narratives and connect the dots you won't find anywhere else. Our investigation begins where you might least expect it, in the realm of high-end fragrances, exposing how even luxury carries a hidden burden for those who build its empire.
Stay with us. Truth Report starts now. Our first story takes us to the glittering world of luxury goods, where a recent investigation by Hong Kong's consumer watchdog has unearthed a troubling truth lurking in designer perfume bottles. It's a story that reveals the systemic disregard for consumer safety and, more critically, the health of those often at the base of global supply chains.
The Consumer Council announced on Monday that tests on 40 perfume products, including Gucci's The Alchemist's Garden Tears from the Moon Eau de Parfum and offerings from Bvlgari, found 10 types of fragrance allergens. These aren't just minor irritants. They are substances known to worsen skin conditions for eczema patients, raising serious questions about product safety and corporate responsibility.
Let's be clear, we're talking about products priced at a staggering 2,850 Hong Kong dollars, or $365 for a 100 milliliters bottle of Gucci's perfume. These are premium prices for products that, according to the watchdog, contain potentially harmful ingredients. It highlights a stark contradiction. Exorbitant cost doesn't always equate to stringent safety standards, particularly when it comes to international manufacturing and a globalized market.
The presence of these allergens points to a much larger issue than just consumer discomfort. It spotlights the opaque nature of supply chains in the luxury sector, where ingredients are sourced globally, formulations are complex, and the labor force producing these items often works under conditions that are far from luxurious. Who is ensuring the safety of workers handling these chemicals daily?
Indeed. While the report focuses on the end user, we must ask, where are these chemicals handled? Who is mixing these compounds? Across Asia and beyond, the manufacturing of components for luxury brands frequently relies on low-wage labor, often performed by migrant workers who may lack adequate health protections, safety training, or even a voice to report hazardous conditions. Their vulnerability makes them invisible casualties.
The Consumer Council's finding is a crack in the polished veneer of the luxury industry. It exposes a system where profit margins appear to take precedence over comprehensive safety, not only for the high-paying consumer but especially for the often unseen hands assembling these products. It's a pattern we see repeatedly in globalized manufacturing, where accountability often evaporates across borders.
This isn't just about a rash. It's about a regulatory environment that allows multinational corporations to operate with different standards in different regions. Hong Kong's watchdog identified a problem, but how many other markets, perhaps with less stringent oversight, are selling these same products without similar warnings? This disparity creates a patchwork of consumer and labor protection, benefiting corporations.
The globalized nature of the perfume industry means raw materials and components could be sourced from countries with varying labor laws and environmental regulations. For instance, the alcohol or synthetic fragrances might be produced in facilities employing migrant workers who face poor ventilation, inadequate protective gear, and minimal recourse for health issues. These workers become the ultimate silent sufferers.
The benefits here are clear. Luxury brands maintain high profit margins by potentially cutting corners on ingredient scrutiny or relying on manufacturing practices in regions with cheaper, less regulated labor. The beneficiaries are shareholders and top executives, far removed from the production floor or the consumer's allergic reaction.
And the losers? Consumers, yes, who pay a premium for a product with hidden risks. But the profound cost falls upon the vulnerable workforce, often migrant workers, who face disproportionate exposure to chemicals, without the luxury of choice or adequate protection. Their health is sacrificed for the illusion of luxury at an affordable production cost.
This story, while seemingly about perfume, is a microcosm of a global system. It reveals how corporate power structures exploit regulatory loopholes and labor arbitrage, often at the expense of immigrant workers, to deliver products to the affluent. It's a stark reminder that even the most beautiful creations can hide ugly truths about their origins and the human cost involved.
From the hidden costs of luxury, we pivot to the intricate dance of international relations, where a recent diplomatic overture between Bangladesh and India hints at a thawing of strained ties. But as always with geopolitics, the surface narrative often conceals deeper, more complex realities, particularly concerning the movement of people across these borders.
The South China Morning Post reports that Bangladesh has invited Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi to the swearing-in of Tariq Rahman as its next leader. This gesture, according to analysts, is a good beginning to ease months of tension between the neighbors. Rahman's Bangladesh Nationalist Party, or BNP, secured victory in recent polls, bringing a new dynamic to regional politics.
While this invitation might signal a political olive branch, we must scrutinize the actual strained ties it aims to mend. The relationship between Bangladesh and India has been historically complex, often dominated by issues of border management, water sharing, and crucially, cross-border migration. These aren't minor disagreements, they are deeply human issues affecting millions.
For years, India has grappled with the influx of migrants from Bangladesh, a situation often politicized and sensationalized. India's contentious Citizenship Amendment Act and the National Register of Citizens have fueled anxieties among Bengali-speaking populations, particularly those living in border states like Assam and West Bengal, many of whom are economic migrants or refugees.
This outreach from Bangladesh could be seen as an attempt to re-engage on these very sensitive immigration issues, but it often frames migrants as a problem to be managed rather than as individuals with rights and needs. The political posturing often overlooks the human tragedy of families separated, livelihoods disrupted, and lives lived in legal limbo.
The BNP's victory and Rahman's ascendancy introduce a new phase. While the invitation to Modi is a diplomatic nicety, the real test will be how the new Bangladeshi government addresses the fundamental causes of migration, poverty, and human rights, which often drive people across borders. Will this good beginning translate into meaningful policy changes for those caught in the crossfire?
Historically, both countries have used the issue of migration as a political football. Bangladeshi politicians have often downplayed the scale of illegal immigration, while Indian politicians have capitalized on anti-immigrant sentiment for electoral gains. This rhetoric demonizes migrants and obscures the shared historical, cultural, and economic ties that have always existed across the border.
Who truly benefits from this easing of strained ties? Primarily, the political elites on both sides who can claim diplomatic victories and project an image of regional stability. For India, it's about securing its eastern flank and managing perceptions of its citizenship policies. For Bangladesh, it's about gaining leverage and ensuring access to Indian markets and regional influence.
The true losers, however, are often the millions of ordinary people, particularly those from marginalized communities, who live along these porous borders. Migrants, asylum seekers, and even long-term residents whose citizenship is questioned find themselves trapped in a bureaucratic and political quagmire. Their human rights are often secondary to state interests.
This geopolitical maneuver exposes the harsh reality of how nationalistic policies and border control agendas impact human lives. The strained ties are often a reflection of unresolved human migration issues, where individuals are reduced to statistics or security threats. It's a stark reminder of the immense power governments wield over people's mobility and fundamental rights. Shifting gears, both literally and figuratively, our next story rides into the world of sustainable urban transport. Electrek, a leading publication on electric vehicles, just published its Best Electric Bikes You Can Buy at Every Price Level in February 2026. On the surface, it's about innovation and green tech. But scratch deeper, and you find threads connecting to urban labor, access, and the globalized workforce.
Electric bikes are increasingly presented as a solution for urban mobility, offering an eco-friendly and often more affordable alternative to cars. The Electrek review, detailing everything from budget-friendly options to high-end models, speaks to a burgeoning market. But for whom is this technology truly a game-changer, and for whom does it create new challenges?
Consider the gig economy. Many urban centers rely heavily on delivery services, food, groceries, packages, a sector disproportionately staffed by immigrant workers. For these individuals, an electric bike isn't just a leisure purchase, it's a vital tool for their livelihood. Access to reliable, affordable e-bikes is critical for their ability to earn a living in rapidly gentrifying cities.
Yet, the cost of these best e-bikes, even at the lower end, can be a significant barrier. Moreover, the hidden costs of maintenance, battery replacement, and insurance often fall squarely on the shoulders of these workers. While companies like Uber Eats or DoorDash benefit immensely from this mobile workforce, they often externalize the capital and operational expenses to their independent contractors.
This creates a precarious situation. Immigrant workers, seeking economic opportunity, are often driven into these flexible yet insecure roles. Their reliance on affordable transport like e-bikes can paradoxically trap them in a cycle of high initial investment and ongoing maintenance costs, eating into already meager earnings. The best e-bikes don't necessarily address the best working conditions.
And let's not forget the global supply chain that brings these e-bikes to market. Components are sourced from various countries, often assembled in factories in Asia where labor costs are low. These factories frequently employ migrant workers, sometimes under exploitative conditions, with long hours, low pay, and limited protections. The green credentials of the e-bike often overlook its human footprint.
Who ultimately benefits from the proliferation of electric bikes? Certainly, the e-bike manufacturers and tech companies that profit from their sales and the gig economy platforms that leverage this workforce. Urban planners might celebrate reduced traffic and emissions. But the true beneficiaries are often corporations, while the actual pedal power comes from a vulnerable segment of the population.
And who loses? The immigrant workers who are dependent on these bikes for their livelihoods but lack the economic security or labor protections of traditional employment. They bear the brunt of the costs, the risks of accidents, and the physical demands of constant delivery, often without fair wages or social safety nets. The promise of urban mobility often bypasses their actual needs.
This story about e-bikes, seemingly a triumph of green technology, reveals the deeper patterns of globalized capitalism. It exposes how new industries, even those with sustainable aims, can still inadvertently, or deliberately, perpetuate cycles of precarious labor, disproportionately impacting immigrant communities who are essential to the functioning of our modern urban economies.
Our investigation now takes a surprising turn, delving into the realm of scientific discovery, where a recent finding published in Nature journal states that exercise rewires the brain for endurance, in mice. While this seems far removed from immigration, we argue it offers a powerful, albeit stark, metaphor for the incredible resilience and often overlooked health realities of migrant populations.
The report, published on February 13, 2026, highlights how physical activity can fundamentally alter neurological pathways in mice, improving their endurance. This is groundbreaking science, yet it prompts us to reflect on the human equivalent. What kind of endurance is demanded of immigrant communities? What are the neurobiological tolls of navigating new lands, languages, and often, systemic prejudice?
Immigrants frequently undertake jobs that demand immense physical stamina: agriculture, construction, caregiving, cleaning services. These are often low-wage, high-demand positions, requiring a level of physical endurance that goes far beyond what most sedentary populations experience. The rewiring they experience is less about voluntary exercise and more about forced adaptation to harsh realities.
Moreover, the stressors of migration, displacement, family separation, discrimination, precarious legal status, language barriers, and economic insecurity have profound impacts on mental health. Studies show higher rates of anxiety, depression, and PTSD among immigrant and refugee populations. This is a form of neurological rewiring that is not beneficial, but rather a response to chronic trauma.
While scientific research explores optimizing endurance in mice, access to basic healthcare, mental health services, and safe spaces for genuine physical activity remains a significant challenge for many immigrant communities. They are often excluded from wellness initiatives, lack health insurance, or face cultural and linguistic barriers to accessing care.
So, who benefits from understanding how brains rewire for endurance? The scientific community, undoubtedly, advancing human knowledge. Potentially, future medical applications could emerge. But for the vast majority of immigrant workers whose lives already embody extreme endurance, this knowledge often remains inaccessible or irrelevant to their immediate struggles.
And who loses? The immigrant populations whose involuntary endurance is often taken for granted, whose mental and physical health are systemically neglected. Their resilience is often admired but rarely supported by adequate resources or equitable societal structures. Their bodies and minds are forced to adapt, often at a tremendous personal cost that goes unacknowledged by the systems that rely on their labor.
This story, about the intricate workings of the brain, becomes a poignant mirror reflecting the often invisible burdens borne by immigrant communities. It forces us to ask, are we celebrating the scientific understanding of endurance while overlooking the real-world human endurance demanded of those who contribute so much to our societies, often without the fundamental support they need? It's a truth that demands our attention. Our final investigation tonight brings us to Japan, a nation grappling with an aging population and a growing reliance on foreign labor. CleanTechnica reports that Japan's smallest EV, the Mi-Bot, a tiny electric vehicle with an affordable 1 million yen, or roughly $7,000, price tag, is now getting backing from one of the country's largest energy companies. This seemingly niche development has profound implications for a changing workforce.
The Mi-Bot, manufactured by KG Motors, delivered its first units in December 2025. This isn't just a quirky new vehicle, it represents a significant step towards accessible, compact urban transport. But in the context of Japan's demographics, where is this vehicle truly positioned, and for whom is it primarily intended?
Japan's shrinking and aging workforce has necessitated a dramatic increase in foreign workers to fill critical labor gaps in industries from manufacturing to caregiving. Many of these immigrant workers reside in urban centers, relying on efficient, affordable transportation to navigate cities and commute to their jobs. The MiBot slots perfectly into this need.
The backing from a major energy company isn't just about financial investment, it signals a strategic move. This large corporation understands the evolving urban landscape and the emerging needs of its mobile workforce, a significant portion of which is now made up of immigrants. This isn't just about selling cars, it's about shaping infrastructure and maintaining a functional labor supply.
This means the MiBot, while marketed broadly, could implicitly become a key tool for mobilizing and optimizing the labor of immigrant communities. Affordable, compact EVs could reduce commuting times and costs, making Japan's urban job market more accessible. But this also raises questions about the dependency created and whether this convenience comes with its own set of challenges for workers.
While affordable transport is a clear benefit, we must consider the broader context. Is this corporate backing genuinely about empowering individual workers, or is it about creating a more efficient, mobile, and therefore, potentially more exploitable, labor force? The energy company's interest lies in maintaining industrial output and energy consumption, which directly correlates with a stable, mobile workforce.
So, who benefits here? Primarily, KG Motors and the large energy company, who gain market share and strategic influence in urban mobility and infrastructure. Japanese industries also benefit from a more agile and accessible immigrant workforce. The nation itself benefits from addressing its demographic challenges through technological solutions and a replenished labor pool.
And who risks losing, or at least being subtly exploited? The immigrant workers themselves. While they gain affordable transport, they could become increasingly reliant on these corporate-backed solutions, potentially limiting their autonomy or bargaining power. Their lives are made easier, but within systems designed to optimize their labor for others' profit. It's a subtle but powerful form of control.
This story about Japan's smallest EV perfectly encapsulates the intersection of technology, corporate strategy, and immigration. It illustrates how innovation, even with sustainable goals, can be harnessed to manage and facilitate the movement and labor of immigrant populations, often without truly addressing their holistic integration or empowering their individual agency. Maya, what an incredible journey through seemingly disparate stories tonight. From luxury perfumes to geopolitical treaties, from electric bikes to brain science, and finally, to Japan's smallest EV. At first glance, these narratives seem to have little in common, yet our investigation has shown they are intricately woven into the fabric of global immigration.
Absolutely, Alex. The common thread is clear: the profound, often hidden, impact of globalized systems, economic, political, and technological, on the lives and experiences of immigrant populations. Whether it's the unseen hands manufacturing luxury goods, the millions caught in geopolitical border disputes, or the workers powering our urban economies, immigrants are at the nexus.
The fragrance allergens in Gucci and Bvlgari perfumes, for instance, exposed not just consumer risk but the opaque, often exploitative, nature of global supply chains. We saw how luxury sheen often conceals the precarious labor of migrant workers, whose health and safety are secondary to profit margins.
Then, the easing of strained ties between Bangladesh and India, a diplomatic triumph on paper, revealed the deep-seated tensions around cross-border migration. This political maneuvering often reduces human lives to bargaining chips, with millions of individuals caught in a stateless, vulnerable limbo between nations.
The rise of electric bikes, touted as a sustainable urban solution, unveiled the precarious reality of gig economy workers, many of whom are immigrants. Their reliance on these tools for survival often translates into a cycle of high costs and minimal labor protections, highlighting the ethical blind spots in our green transition.
And the scientific discovery about brain endurance in mice became a stark metaphor for the involuntary, often traumatic, endurance demanded of immigrants. It forced us to confront the systemic neglect of their mental and physical health, even as their resilience is lauded, but rarely truly supported.
Finally, Japan's MiBot EV, an innovation for urban transport, demonstrated how technology and corporate strategy converge to manage and mobilize a vital immigrant workforce. It's a testament to how even well-intentioned advancements can subtly perpetuate reliance and control over a vulnerable demographic.
What emerges is a powerful pattern. Every story, no matter how distant it appears from immigration news, ultimately reveals how global systems leverage, exploit, or disregard the lives of immigrants. Corporate greed, political expediency, technological advancements, all are shaped by, and in turn shape, the experiences of those moving across borders.
These aren't isolated incidents, but symptoms of deeply entrenched global power structures that prioritize profit, national interest, and efficiency over human dignity and equitable treatment. Truth Report aims to shine a light on these connections, forcing us to look beyond the headlines and recognize the pervasive impact on human lives.
The truth is, immigration isn't just a separate news beat. It's the silent force woven into the very fabric of our global economy, our international relations, our technological progress, and even our scientific understanding. It's a lens through which we can understand the true cost of our modern world.
We urge you to question every story you consume. Ask, who benefits, who loses, and what is the hidden human cost, particularly for the most vulnerable among us?
For Truth Report, I'm Maya Clarity.
And I'm Alex Truth. We'll continue to dig deeper, bringing you the stories that matter most, next time.